What is a Big Daddy? Spoilers! So, I just finished the first Bioshock game on stream. Shameless promotion, twitch.tv/MrHammers, streaming every Monday through Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Go check it out, give me a follow or something, yeah? Anyways, like I said, I just finished Bioshock and I was reminded of the beautiful world of the Rapture all over again. And after encountering and eventually becoming a Big Daddy, I decided to take a deeper look into Bioshock lore and find out exactly what a Big Daddy is. What are they? Who are they? Who made them? Etc, etc, etc. Big Daddy questions. Well, according to Andrew Ryan, a Big Daddy is a lumbering Palooka and a foul-smelling diving suit. Palooka itself being a fascinating word here, a word that was used primarily in the United States from the 1920s until becoming a rather common word in the 1950s and 60s. So it's appropriately used by Ryan here, which is a little Easter egg for you. But anyways, Palooka meant a stupid, unmannered person or an inferior or average prize fighter, which turns out isn't really far from the truth. Big Daddies, as you find out, are referred to as protectors, Mr. Bubbles, or Mr. B. They are genetically enhanced humans who have had their skin and organs grafted into an enormous diving suit. There's different variations and series of Big Daddies that you encounter in the Bioshock games, but there are some that vary from this standard description, like the Alpha series Big Daddies, who aren't in an enormous diving suit, but are still heavily spliced human beings. The primary purpose of a Big Daddy is the protection of the atom-harvesting little sisters while they wander around Rapture. They communicate in two ways, the first being a low, whale-like groan, or in the Alpha's case, a haunting, inhuman roar. The second method of communication is the helmet, which is filled with a bioluminescent chemical substance that displays the emotion of the Big Daddy in 3 different colors. The first color being green, which is generally friendly and hypnotized state. The second is yellow, which is meh. The Big Daddy is aware but indifferent to its surroundings. This is the color when he's usually on duty protecting a little sister. And third is the last color, which is red, which is rage, obviously. In Bioshock 2, the surviving Alpha series daddies that you encounter are all stuck in a permanent state of rage. So now that we know what the Big Daddies are, who made the Big Daddies? Well, that credit goes to Dr. Yi Su-chong. He created the Big Daddies originally as Rapture's maintenance workers to help in the construction and to do menial tasks of Rapture. The Rosies were to rivet panels and windows, and the Bouncers were made to drill deep-sea rocks for future expansion of Rapture. During cutscenes and at certain points in the games, you can see the Big Daddies doing these tasks occasionally, but this is no longer the task that they are primarily known to do at the time the game takes place. The demand for Atom kept rising, and the amount of Atom produced in the traditional ways was not keeping up with the addiction that Rapture's population currently had. So, Dr. Su-chong came up with an idea to have these little sisters harvest Atom from dead splicers. And instead of having these little girls run around Rapture with murderous splicers on the loose, the protection program began, putting Big Daddies in charge of protecting Atom harvesting little ones we know and love. When this program started, most of the humans used in creating the Big Daddies were criminals and criminally insane people, which were commonly used in Rapture for many experiments before this one. The first Big Daddies made were the Alpha series, which were bonded to the little sisters with a pair bond, which was a bond similar to a father-daughter bond, which ensured that the Big Daddies would protect the girls and never wander away from them. The first ever successful Alpha series daddy was named Subject Delta. He was actually a deep-sea diver named Johnny Topside who discovered Rapture by accident. As it turns out, the Alpha series daddies were a failure, as the pair bond used to keep them with the little sister only tied them to a single little sister. So, if that sister was killed by splicers or rescued by Tenenbaum, it rendered that Big Daddy useless, throwing it into a suicidal aggression. The Alpha series was ended after these discoveries were made. After this failure, Dr. Su-chong looked endlessly for a way to bond the daddies and the sisters reliably. He eventually made a protection bond based on the DNA of Elizabeth, who's from the Bioshock Infinite game, that he stole from Jeremiah Fink, a scientist from Columbia, via a trans-dimensional tear. The protection bond itself was a failure. However, after Big Daddy started to receive raw Adam from the little sisters, the bond grew stronger between the daddies and the sisters. The addition of pheromones on the daddies that comforted the little sisters also aided in this bond working. Suchong didn't know that this bond became successful over time, and out of frustration, he slapped a little sister in the presence of a Big Daddy, which caused this bouncer Big Daddy to impale Suchong onto his desk with its giant drill bit. The protection bond was a success. After the protection bond established the Big Daddies, they were conditioned in the proving grounds, which modified their voice box and applied the pheromones and grafted the subject's skin and organs to the inside of their diving suit to make them one functional unit. They were then bathed in an unknown yellow substance which brainwashed them and made them mindless servants. As certain areas of Rapture became more dangerous and hostile towards the Big Daddies, and they were dying to splicer attacks more often, more elite Big Daddies were produced to aid in these high crime areas. This is the reason that the Lancer was made. The Lancer being the most advanced Big Daddy equipped with an ion laser. Time eventually went on and the Adam harvesting slowed due to the little sisters becoming too old to process the raw genetic material. Big Daddy started to return to their original duty of maintenance and Rapture. The older little sisters were then transformed into big sisters and equipped with diving suits like the daddies. They were used as enforcers, but they were also sent to the surface to kidnap little girls. Another unique daddy named the Rumbler was made in response to the advanced tactics of the splicers and them killing Big Daddies easier as they learned better combat skills. The Rumbler excelled in dispatching large groups of splicers as it laid turrets and it was able to fire rockets and heat-seeking RPGs. And that's pretty much the gist of the history of the Big Daddy. There ended up being 5 different types of Big Daddies. You got the Bouncer, the Rosie, the Alpha series, and the 2 unique ones, the Lancer and the Rumbler. And over the course of these games, there were 6 significant Big Daddies that you come to know. The first being Jack, the protagonist of the first game, and he becomes a Big Daddy as you try to get to Fontaine throughout the story. Then you have Knuckles, who was a friend of Louis McGrath and a Persephone inmate who was turned into a Big Daddy. Then there's Mark Meltzer, who was the guy who was turned into the Rumbler. And then you have Subject Delta, who, as said earlier, was the first successful Alpha Series daddy. He was also the protagonist of Bioshock 2. Then there's Augustus Sinclair, who was the last Alpha Series daddy, also known as Subject Omega. And then there was Subject Sigma, aka Charles Milton Porter, who was the protagonist of the Minerva's Den DLC. I hope this cleared up any questions you may have had about the Big Daddy, and mostly, I hope that this was entertaining to you. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment. Let me know if you want to see any more in-depth analysis on characters or creatures of the Bioshock world, or even other games. I was thinking of diving into some Dead Space lore, or even some Silent Hill. Let me know, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed your time here. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.
Everybody let me hear you say, oh yeah, I hold your hands in the air and wait for my